got a phone call the other day from a friend who is selling their home in another state and not one that I'm located in. The realtor they chose was their best friend, had a son who just got his real estate license, brand new realtor, and they want to give this kid a break. So they decided to take their largest asset and put it in the hands of a novice. But they know Lori, so they pick up their call a realtor helpline. I guess that's what I am right now for them. And I'm happy to do it because I'm their friend. They have some questions and they don't trust their realtor because their realtor's brand new. And so they're calling me to ask me questions to give them some guidance. I was thinking as I was talking to them that this would probably be a good subject to do a video on because I think a lot of people have the same questions that they do. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the question that they had was, how are we going to price our home? Because they felt that their home should be priced higher than what their realtor was telling them. I'm going to tell you today the advice that I gave to my friend, and I'll be your Ask a Realtor advice line for you as well. So how do you come up with a price for your home? Now, I know a lot of people just get online when they're thinking about selling and they do one of these online valuations, and there's an algorithm that's going to aggregate the data and spit out for you a price or a price range. That's okay, it's a starting point, right? But it doesn't take into account the factors that you really need to consider when you're pricing your home. So that's what I want to talk to you about today and maybe help you get a better understanding of why your realtor, hopefully hire an experienced realtor, is giving you this range or this price and that you had a different price in mind. I've sat across hundreds of kitchen tables and had this discussion with people, and usually people have a number in mind because they've started online and they're trying to come up with a good idea and a good range. Totally understandable. But the factors that affect how you price your home, I'm going to talk about those right now. There are three of them, and the first one is location. The location of your home does matter. And I'm not just talking about the neighborhood or the street that you're on. I'm talking about the state, the city, the neighborhood, the street. Does your backyard back up to a busy street? Does your backyard back up to green space where you don't have a neighbor that you're looking at behind you? All of those things factor into location, and all of those things matter when you're trying to come up with a valuation for your property when you're going to go on the market, because that prime lot that you chose is worth extra money than the lot that is down the street that is not a prime lot, that's on the busy street or right across from the school or whatever it may be. So location is very, very important, number one. Number two thing that you need to consider is the condition of your home. Sure, most of us have experienced you're home shopping with a friend and you're going out looking at houses with them, or you've gone to open houses and you pull up to a house and it looks so cute on the outside. You look at it and you're like, oh my God, I love this house. I want to live in this house, right? And then you open the door and you walk in and you're so disappointed. Nothing's been updated. The backyard is a mess. The kitchen countertops are, from Formica from 1975, and it looks so adorable on the outside. Well, that's very, very common. So the condition of that home is it needs work. It needs upgrades, right? You can drive down a street and you can see all these doors. You have no idea what's behind those doors. You don't know if it's beautiful, if it's modern, move-in ready, or if you're going to have to put some elbow grease into that home and do some renovation. So condition is extremely important when pricing a home. Now, certain neighborhoods, if they were built in the 70s, 80s, whatever, there are neighborhoods that have a lot of homes that aren't upgraded and have homes that are upgraded. So what's standard in your neighborhood, when it comes to pricing? Like when your neighbor priced their home, did it need upgrades? And so how did they price it that way? And that's where a good realtor can help you. But condition is the other thing that's important. And that's why people have a honey-do list and they prepare their home to go on the market. They just know, okay, I'm going to need a little time to get my home ready, show ready before we go in the market, because condition matters when it comes to pricing. Okay, the third thing that is going to affect the price you get for your home is market conditions. You don't have control over that. The first two you kind of have control over. Your location, you selected that when you bought that home. The condition, you do have control over that. The third thing, the market conditions, you have no control over. So I'm sure you understand that sometimes it's a buyer's market, sometimes it's a seller's market. Works in everything around us that we buy and that we do. So is it a buyer's market or a seller's market in your area? That's what you need to know. And a lot of factors can contribute to that. For example, do you have a large employer that's bringing new jobs and new employees into the area? Or do you have a large employer that just did a bunch of layoffs and people are moving out of the area? Or has your city just become overgrown because everybody moved to it during COVID and you can't stand it anymore? And so you and a lot of other people are moving out of the area. These factors matter when it comes to pricing your home. There are a lot of communities and cities in the United States right now that are still experiencing a boom market because people are still moving in there. And there are a lot of cities and places that are experiencing a down market because people are not moving or moving out. And along with market conditions is the data that supports it. So when I'm pricing a home, I'm gonna look at comparable sales in the neighborhood. And the important thing to remember is most buyers, when they purchase a home, get a mortgage. So there's going to be an appraisal done on the property. The buyer's bank is going to order an appraisal to make sure that the value's there when they loan that money to the buyer. And an appraiser is going to come out and appraise the property once you go under contract. What data does the appraiser use? The same data that your realtor uses, that your realtor has access to. So I am going to pull the data that I know the appraiser is going to pull because I know we've got to match up, or we've got to be, very, very close so that you can get the price that you want. Even if you found a buyer who is willing to pay a crazy price for your home, if they're getting a mortgage, it still has to appraise, or they cannot buy it for that crazy price. So you've got to consider that when you're pricing your home. What an appraiser is going to look at is comparable homes to yours, comparable properties that have similar square footage, that were built around the same year, that are within a mile radius usually of your home, and that have sold recently. So I always pull data from the last 3 to 6 months, depending on the market that we're in. We're kind of in a changing market in my area, so I pull the last 3 months because 6 months ago could have been a different market. And also there's seasonality, right? So some markets, most markets, spring is the busiest time, and then it slows down throughout the rest of the year. So if you're listing your home later in the year and I'm using data from the spring to price your home, it's not going to be accurate. So you've got to make sure that the data you're looking at of those comparable home sales was recent. And this is where you come into problems with those aggregates and those online valuations, because you don't know the data that they're pulling from. You don't know how far back they're going. You don't know if they're using the right square footage. You don't know if you're using the right date that the house was built. Those are the things that an experienced agent will do for you, is pull up accurate market data, the same market data that an appraiser is going to use, so that you're not going to run into problems later in your transaction because of your pricing strategy. I just wanted to talk about those things today. I hope that was helpful to you guys when you're wondering, how do realtors try to come up with a price for your home, and how do you try to come up with a price for your home? Everybody wants the best price for your home, probably not the buyer, but as a seller and as a realtor, they want to get you top dollar, and you want top dollar. So all of these factors need to be taken into consideration, and then you come up with a price that you think is going to get you the most. So that's my tip today on how to price your home. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below for me. We'll be happy to read through those and answer them for you.